Yo, something different today. Welcome. We'll be talking about football, and just what's been going on in football, in the football world, you know. Um, so obviously I wanna shout out my team, Arsenal, all day long. Um, Smith Rowe. That's what comes to mind straight away. Smith Rowe. Smithy, that's what I call him, Smithy, right? And obviously a lot of people will call him Croydon De Bruyne, right? Um, Straight from Croydon. From what I've heard, he's actually from Fulton Heath, where I originally grew. That's where I grew up, Fulton Heath. That's my ends, like literally. Um, Obviously I live in East London. I've been living in East London for like 8 years, probably a bit longer than that. But yeah, I grew up in South London, Fulton Heath, and I've heard Smithy's from there, Smith Rowe. So if that's true, I know he's from Croydon. I don't know exactly where. So if he's really from Fulton Heath, man, that's mad. But yeah, man, it's good to see young talent come out of anywhere really. They don't have to be Fulton Heath, just young talent in general playing football. Um, you know, being called up for England, it's amazing. So obviously, someone like Smithy Rowe, Smith Rowe, playing for Arsenal. He scored three in the last three games, I think, and it's actually a record for his age or something like that. I think Anelka um, done it. Like there's only been three people that's done it. Scored three goals in a row. Um, at that age, the age that Smith Rowe is. I'm not sure if he's 21. Not too sure. Leave a comment in the comment box section to correct me. I'm not too sure, but imagine that. Yeah, and the three players is Anelka, Fabregas, and someone else. I'm not too sure, man. So fill me in for that one. Yeah, I should have done my research before I come on there. But yeah, it's deep, man. Obviously, by the time this comes out, England might have already played. So it's Monday today, and England's playing San Marino. And obviously, for those who know, England only need one more point to qualify. One more point, and they're playing San Marino. If they was to lose this, it will be the worst loss ever for England in history, because San Marino, as we know, they're not even really a team. They don't score. They concede about 20 goals each game, exaggeration, but they do let a lot of goals each game. If you're to play San Marino and you only win 2-0, you should be unhappy. You should be banging in like 9 goals. Every team should be banging in at least 7 to 9 goals, or 7 plus, right? Goals against San Marino. They're not a good team at all. And I was actually surprised when England beat Albania 5-0. Not that I was surprised that it was 5-0. It was more like they scored 5 goals in the first half. I actually thought that they could get a lot more and maybe score at least 8 goals, and win 8-0. But it wasn't to be. The second half was a lot different to the first half. First half, they had a lot more chances. Harry Kane, 3 goals. Not only did he score 3 goals, but for me they were all really good goals. Especially the scissor kick, or some will say bicycle kick, or overhead kick. But yeah, for me, just by seeing that, he's one of those players. He lets me know that he's one of them players that when he's on the ball, sometimes he may not look like the greatest striker in the world. Like you could see, like if you compare him to other strikers in the world who are considered to be the greatest strikers in the world, you see in terms of skill and stuff like that, technique, he's not up there like with Salah. He's not up there with Saleh, or you know Lewandowski, like a lot of players, right? Lewandowski is a bit more similar to Kane actually compared to other strikers, but I would say Kane for me is just one of them strikers that when you see, sometimes it's just like Just rest him, man. Bring on a next striker. Let's see how these other England strikers do. But then he proves like other people wrong. Like obviously what we've seen for Tottenham, he hasn't been doing nothing. But neither has the whole team when it comes to Tottenham. Tottenham, apart from Son, probably. But just in general, I would say Kane is one of those players that, in terms of goal scoring, unbelievable. In terms of him just getting right back on form, like he might have a few games where he's like not playing too good or whatnot, hasn't scored any goals, has a little drought. He'll get back in and start banging in goals. That's what I like about him. Simple. That's all it is. And he's just one of them players that you can't drop. You can't. Even if you think about it, even if you're like, but I know there's other players like Calvin Lewin that might deserve a chance, or Tammy Abraham, but then you see how Kane is, you know, when it comes to goal scoring, you just can't drop a player like that. That's it, you know what I mean? And I remember Southgate saying he doesn't want to drop Kane. Like, he's just a player that you can't leave out. He's saying something like that. So, with that being said, man, you know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, I've grown up to watch football from young. I've seen England from young, Arsenal, most teams from young, right? I would say this is the best England squad that I've ever witnessed. Straight, like, this is the best England squad. I'm not saying team, I'm saying squad that I've ever witnessed. England back in the day, they would have like a sick team, like, you know, when you had the Scholes and the Beckham, the Lampard and Gerrard, and they had a sick team. When it came to squad, when it comes to the squad, there was backup players that were just, you know what I mean, not for me, like, they weren't on the level of this squad where we got players who are they're on the sub bench, and they're players that can do a madness, and you got even players who can't get into the squad sometimes, and they're like doing a madness, or they have quality. Sometimes they're not always playing good for their club because their club's not playing good. Like, you got a few players that play for Man United's not doing too good, and then you got, like, you know what I mean, like players like Sancho being left out. Like, it's crazy. And it just goes to show that England got depth in their squad, and I think they will have a really good World Cup. I don't want to make any predictions right now. I don't want to say like where England's going to be. Like, I don't know, but I think they will do well. But yeah, so coming back to the Albania game, yeah, when England played Albania and the first goal went in, I'm trying to think who scored the first goal. Maguire. Let's talk about that. So Harry Maguire, header, bang. He goes and runs to the corner flag, does one of them sliding celebrations, and puts his ears and his fingers. Now, I didn't clock what he was trying to do, and I was just putting his ears and his fingers and celebrating. Like, I thought he's just doing that in front of the Albanian crowd or whatever. But I've seen pundits talk about it, you know, and they're basically saying, it's disgraceful. Like Roy Keane, I think, was saying it's disgraceful because he's just getting back at the some of the fans who think that he's been playing rubbish, something like that. And like, he's just trying to prove, like, I'm back, like, or never count me out. Look, I've just scored a goal for England. Like one of those ones. But I tell you what, yeah, just like Kane, I feel like Maguire is one of them players that sometimes can look like a good defender, like a really good defender, and there's other times he's just playing so crap, like just so rubbish, and it's like, do you drop him? Do you bring him in? Do you, like, obviously in the case of Kane, it's a bit different. I feel like Kane, in terms of goal scoring and stuff like that, he's way ahead of everyone else. But I don't think there's any type of quality that, apart from one thing, I would say leadership. I think he, in terms of leadership, I don't think there's any player for England who has that type of leadership that he has. Um, but other than that, it's like, but then again, if Ramsdale was in goal, I say Ramsdale's got, he's very vocal and very yeah, he's one of them ones that you could tell he would have good leadership. But yeah, just in general, like Maguire's one of them players. It's like, do you bring him in? Do you leave him? Like, there's a lot of mistakes he's made, like, for England. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. You know, but I don't care about that celebration. A lot of people were moaning. I see the pundits and da. Forget that, man. It's about whether he's playing good or not. In it, he needs to stay in that form. Like, I don't think he played too bad, and I think that's the only reason why is because Albania weren't really doing much. You know what I mean? So, and he goes on these little runs sometimes, and it's like, where you going? Like, I don't know where it is. I'm like, where you going? Sometimes he's successful. You just skip past players, and you're like, what? But it's just like other times, it's like, allow it, man. Just don't do that. And then you got okay, who scored the next goal? So that was 1-0. My guy. I was getting confused with Jamie Carragher. I don't know why. Carragher's not even right? Henderson. Don't know why I get them two mixed up. Carragher's like retired ages ago, and then, but yeah, Henderson. Like, there's many times I've said, he needs to call it a day now. Like, he's sick for Liverpool. Like, he's good. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like there's new players that need to like replace him. Like, have like Calvin Phillips and Rice in the middle. That's it. No need for Hendo, right? But I'll be honest with you, man. Sometimes he just does that work, like that extra work. He's a bit like Milner, you know what I mean? Like, he's not one of them quality players or them players that you'll say, oh yeah, you know what? Like, I feel like Rice is a better version of Hendo. However, I would say Hendo just puts in that extra effort sometimes. Sometimes he does. I don't know what it is, man. He just comes out with. I feel like Rice couldn't score that goal that Hendo scored. You know what I mean? For England, like, I just feel like he'll do something different that you're not gonna expect. Like, the way he turned the player, I wasn't expecting it. Do you know what I mean? Don't even think the defender was expecting it. So, yeah, man, I feel like that was a really good goal. Until I see Kane's last one, because I remember I put on Facebook, I was like, Hendo's goal was quality. I don't know if I put world class or something, but it was quality. But then, and the pass was good as well. I can't remember who passed to Hendo, but it was good, man. Like, proper. So they were obviously the 2 goals, Maguire, then Hendo, then obviously Kane's hat-trick, right? Yeah, man. Proper, man. What can I say? I think it was right foot, left foot. Yeah. So obviously he headed it in. That was the first one, I think. That was a good goal. Then he had the left foot shot where he kind of shimmied the defender, like went to his right and went to his left. Defender got sent to the shops, and then he just banged it in just over the keeper. Just went in between his arms. Really good goal, man. And that's another thing. He could shoot both feet, left foot, right foot. Obviously, you could see he's predominantly right-footed, but every now and then he'll bang it in with his left foot, and that's needed, man. Because you get players that are just so right-footed, they'll get into that position and they'll have to turn again. By then, defenders clocked what you're doing. You know what I mean? Can't keep swiveling and turning to get onto your right foot all the time. Sometimes you just got to bang it with your left, and obviously that's what Kane done. You know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, that's sick. And then obviously the scissor. For me, it's called a scissor kick because it was like, it wasn't an overhead kick. You know what I mean? Overhead kick is just straight, bang on overhead kick. His thing was more of like from the side. So for me, that's a scissor kick. But don't matter about the name, man. It went in, and it was a good goal. I feel like one of his best goals in his career, to be honest with you, because he's one of them guys that he's had scored some bangers though. I'm not gonna lie, but genuinely speaking, he's one of them guys that will, I won't say score tap-ins, but it'll be in the area. You know what I mean? inside the area, inside the box, um, side foot, sometimes lashes it in, and there's been a few that's been outside the box. You know what I mean? And a few where he's like done a couple skills, and you're like, what? And he scores. You know what I mean? But I definitely think that's one of his best goals, and he'll probably say that's one of his best goals in his career as well. No doubt about it. Everyone wants to score scissor kick or overhead kick. Everyone wants to do it, innit? So, and we know that the famous overhead kick that Wayne Rooney done against Man City, I don't think Wayne Rooney's done that for England. I could be wrong, but obviously Kane's done that for England. I don't know if he's done that for Tottenham, probably not, but he's done it for England. And there's one thing I was gonna say. He equaled Jimmy Greaves' record, and he's surpassed Wayne Rooney's record. I think he's gone past Wayne Rooney's record. That's mad. But correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not really one of these guys that will do some mad research, watch football all day long. I'm not one of them guys in it, but obviously I like football, and I watch it every now and then. Like, you know what I mean? In terms of like, obviously I watch games, yeah, but just in terms of watching, you know, pundits talk and find out information about this player and that player, and, you know what I mean? I'm not always gonna do that, but yeah, man, this is obviously the first football video that I've done. It was meant to be about the game Albania, you know, England, Albania. I kind of just went everywhere. And since it's actually, let me talk about more international football before I go. So I saw the game Portugal v Serbia, and Serbia won 2-1. Now, what does this mean? Serbia they're qualified to the World Cup. They've qualified, that's it. But now, because they qualified and finished first, Portugal now have to play in the playoffs. That's mad. They're gonna have to play in the playoffs. They could have just qualified, went straight through. Now they got to play in the playoffs. Madness. You could imagine how upset Ronaldo would have been. I mean, what can I say, man? Who else? Spain qualified. Morata. I don't really rate him. I know a lot of people like Morata and stuff. I don't know, man. Obviously he scored. Yeah, man. Who else? There's been some surprises though. I think Ireland won. Republic of Ireland, they won 3-0. Yeah, man. I looked at some of the tables, but I can't even remember like who's top in that. But you know what I mean? The one thing I have to say is that England always have these easy teams, man. I have to be honest, man. Like, they just have them dead teams, man. But it's a good thing that that England's got San Marino on a match where they need 1 point. Because 1 point, even though you would say, oh yeah, you know what, England are favourites for probably any team that they would play. Even if they were to play Poland, I think a lot of people would say, yeah, England's going to go through. They'll get at least 1 point. But the fact that is one more game to go, there's always going to be pressure. No matter what team you're facing, there's always going to be pressure. Now, a team like San Marino, they got nothing to lose but they don't have that spirit within them. You know what I mean? They could easily just play just to upset England. They could play to any team who has to put pressure on a team on the last day, whether they're going to be relegated, whether they're relegated or not. Just say, for example, the Premier League. You're going to put pressure on the top team. Even if you're relegated, you're going to do that. You just want to upset a team and like have that kind of that last say. And that's what San Marino need to do against England, but they're not going to do it because they just every season, every international, friendly or qualified, they just can't score goals. They can't get no points. Like, they're just a dead team. Like, I don't understand why. What's the point? I don't get it. Like, they need to look around for some players or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think England's got this in the bag. I don't think it will be like some crazy score, I'll be honest with you. I think maybe another 5-0. Really, they should be thrashing them like 9-0, 11-0, 14-0. Like they should be thrashing them. And get every single player on the score sheet. But I'll be honest with you, man. I feel like England, they're gonna just, you know how it is. They'll probably score a few goals in the first half, second half. It will just be like passing, bare shots, but missing them, bare opportunities, missing them, bare possession, and then after might score a couple goals towards the end and make it 5-0. But I can't see San Marino scoring at all. And I think if San Marino scored, even if it was 10-1, I think that would be like, how can you let San Marino score? I don't care if England banged in 10 goals. You can't let a team like that score a goal. I haven't seen the goal differences, so I don't know if they've actually scored in these qualifiers for the World Cup for Qatar. However, they got no points. So England can't be losing any points against them, even if it was a draw, because that means England would go through essentially. But you can't draw against San Marino, so England has to win it, and I think England will win 5-0 again, just like Albania. I don't think it will be a massacre. I don't think they'll win 9-0, 11-0 or anything like that, because I feel like England, they kind of switch off sometimes. Just like Albania, I mean, like they could have scored at least 8 goals, even more, but they kind of just switched off. And I think what didn't help was taking off Kane. I think once he scored a bag of goals, he scored 3 goals, obviously hat trick by half time. I think he would have, the more time he would have played, I feel like he would have got involved a bit more again, and probably banged in another 2, another couple goals. But it wasn't to be. He got taken off by the 60th minute. Obviously, they want to save him against San Marino. But yeah, it is what it is, man. So I'm going to end this now because it's been a bit too long. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of videos, me talking about football and whatnot. And obviously, there's no Premier League action. But that's my, obviously, my favourite for me. Premier League. Can't beat that. Obviously, I watch the international games. I'm gonna back England, obviously, but at the same time, man, I always, whenever there's an international break, I always miss the Premier League. Like I'm like, no Premier League this Saturday, or no Premier League, no matches on Sunday. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So it's international week, international break, and obviously England got San Marino. I said it will be 5-0. Let me know what you think the score will be. That's if you watch football. I know there's a couple people that watch this channel. A few people from America watch this channel. I don't know if they're going to be into soccer, as they say. But yeah, let me know what you think the score is going to be. As I said, I think England 5, San Marino 0. But we'll see. It's on tonight. But obviously, yeah, by the time I've recorded this, the game probably would have been over. But yeah, man. So to the next video. Peace.